Okay, so today we get an interesting chat from Mira, who is going to tell us about the inside guts of a VoIP software company. And as I was just discussing with Mira, she actually has the inside scoop because she's pretty much done everything except for the actual development code. Sales, marketing, customer support. She's covered all of the other parts except for the programmer. So she can tell us what really happens and how it works.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here. And thank you, Dan, for this opportunity that you're giving to female speakers. If you want to hear more about diversity, I would like to initially start with advertising my keynote tomorrow. So if you can attend my keynote, it would be awesome tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Before I start, I would like to address a person, a very special person, who's not here today. Hi, Andy. I know that you're watching. I have a little to do for you here. It's in this very well-presented business slide. So you need to get better, okay? You need to see me talk, and you need to confirm that you have seen me talk. You need to get better. You need to hang out with me in one of the next conferences, and you need to get better. So let's start with my presentation. As it turned out to be a tradition, we are giving free Zoidberg licenses to the conference attendees. So if you need a free Zoidberg license, send me an email or send an email to sales@zoidberg.com with the title ComCon 2019, and you're going to receive a free Zoidberg license of our Zoidberg 5 Pro product. Today, I want to share with you the organizational know-how and the tools and frameworks we're using at Zoidberg in order to maintain the Zoidberg products and service. I hope that I will be able to give you relatable and practical knowledge, or at least I will be able to give you different points of view. You probably noticed that my slides are very text-oriented. There are two reasons. I was not going to share them with you, but I shared them with Kathleen during a lunch, and Kathleen said that it's a very useful thing to know. So the reason my slides are like this is that, well, one of the reasons is, I hope, thoughtful. People who cannot understand me because I do not articulate well or I have an accent, or people who are hard of hearing will be able to read what I'm mainly saying. And the second reason is a cool reason. Well, if I forget to say something, I'll be able to read it and still say it. Now, what you will hear today, well, David, you asked me what I'm going to talk about today, because you wanted to check whether you're going to observe this talk or somebody else's talk. Well, I'm going to explain some new management methods. I am going to dedicate some time on some management frameworks. I'm going to shorten this time because my presentation turned out to be longer than 40 minutes. Then I'm going to share some practical experience with gaining and retaining team members. So this talk is mainly aimed at business people, but also towards people who want to be more organized, just anybody in the company, really. It's not a technical talk. This is the result of a full-blown hands-on experience throughout 15 years with working and malfunctioning practices that we have applied on real people, with real people, and in production. So just a couple of words about Zoidberg. This talk is not about, it is about Zoidberg, but not the software itself, but how we are organized. Zoidberg is a soft phone. We offer branding services and SDKs. You can learn about Zoidberg more on zoidberg.com. We have applications for all of the popular platforms, for Android and iOS, for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux. Zoidberg is standard-based, so it supports all major hardware and software. So, what are the main laws that we follow in the Zoidberg office? These are the three main laws, and everything revolves around them. Cut the BS, we get rid of the middleman, and we get things done. It's a very results-oriented team. These fundamental laws are a great way to handle the challenges of our dynamic industry. They also form the mindset with which we have selected the management frameworks and methods that we're using to organize Zoidberg, if we used any. Zoidberg has a very unique way of organizing. These frameworks address specific challenges, and I'm going to dedicate a little bit of time to tell you about these challenges. What are the challenges that an IT or any company really is faced with at the beginning of its life or throughout its complete life? Is the challenge the idea, the portfolio, the team, the funding and capital, strong marketing, and company organization? So before I tell you what I think that the biggest challenge is, I'll just tell you how Zoidberg was born. Zoidberg was born just like any great idea was born. Any great idea is born because somebody was looking for a solution or for a product and they couldn't find it, so they decided to do it on their own. They decided to build it on their own. So in 2003, Joachim, who's here, I promise not to mention it. So in 2003, Joachim and a couple of his peers needed a dialer, so they decided to build a dialer. Quickly after that, they figured out that other people are still looking for a dialer, so they started forming teams. And in 2005, I joined the team, and I started commercializing the Zoidberg software. I was going to tell you a story about how Zoidberg was previously named. It was called Edifisk after Asterisk, because it was software built specifically for Asterisk. But then we had to change the name because we figured that this joke around the names was only valid for France, and it didn't really work all around the world. So, as any other software, the communications software is also facing some challenges that require constant evolution of the software itself and of the way it is organized. This evolution needs to happen immediately. The reason it needs to happen immediately is because technological progress happens, and it gives opportunities for new ideas to be realized. Now, in our business, there is constantly new hardware, new platforms, new environments, new technologies, new rules and new frameworks, and it makes it easier and faster to develop communication capabilities. So indeed, the communication software needs to evolve, and this needs to happen immediately. So previously, I told you that there is one thing that I think is the biggest challenge for any company, it's timing. It's not just timing in the sense the right time to market, but it's also how fast we can market something, how fast we can bring the innovation, the idea, or the solution to the market. We are in the age of ideas overload. The ideas are only waiting to be released when the technology allows it. So what can guarantee fast time to market? People. People organized around the mutual idea. These people need to make sure that they apply systematic actions to bring the idea or the innovation before the market is overloaded. So whether you have a one-man show or a 50-person organization like Zoidberg, you need a team to realize your innovation. The challenge that such teams are faced with is organization. The business requires new ways of organization because of the increased dynamics. The ever-increasing pace of living comes with ever-increasing speed of also working and delivering solutions. The attention span of a human being currently in 2019 is 8 seconds. It has decreased with 4 seconds since the year 2000. It means that it decreases with a huge pace. It means that it will keep increasing. We have smaller attention span than goldfish. So I cannot guarantee that you're listening right now. Such pace requires outstanding discipline for something to be released, for something to be realized. And the old management structures, although they're built around discipline, they don't do the job. The new structures and frameworks, they arise to meet this demanding need of speed and agility. Simply saying, new management frameworks and methods, they focus around talent and they focus around generation, and it's just my opinion. It's an oversimplification of an opinion. I divide these aims and these missions into two. So I think that we have an internal mission, which is dedicated towards our talent. It's making the most of the talent. It's making sure that we create value for this talent. It's making sure that we have efficiency and productivity. Every team hates these two words. And we have little to no requirement for management, which means better autonomy. And we use motivation as part of the project and the team. Then we have the external mission, which is related to our customers. It is, well, in our business, it's gaining critical mass or users. It's customer acquisition, creating value for the customers. It's lower requirement for support. It's motivation to use the project, create a valuable product, and thus make a difference. This is specifically true for Zoidberg. When we deliver custom projects to customers, we want to make sure that the external mission is met. There's one more challenge, and it's overused throughout the software development industry, and it's simplicity. We need to make sure that we build around simplicity and we organize around simplicity. We don't just build simple software and simple interfaces, and we also need to make sure that we organize simply so that we can deliver. The frameworks that we use need to reflect simplicity. There are several main principles at Zoidberg that we are using, and the frameworks need to reflect this as well. We are organically structured. We use result-oriented organization so that our teams can reflect this and they can be result-oriented. We have dynamic roles with changing capabilities. We have problem-solving attitude, diverse environment, and organically formed small teams, and little to no disruption. Then we need to ensure efficient production, speedy development, and rework when something needs to be redone, decrease spillage and automated systems. We need to put some emphasis on value-adding work. We need to make sure that all of our team members are creating value-adding work. We work with merits. We have less supporting administration. We do fragmented planning and coherent team engagement. These principles align well with the agile principles, if you have noticed, but not entirely. There's no one single framework or management that works for every team and for every organization. I believe, and many other professionals believe this too, we need to apply hybrid solutions. We need to apply solutions that are customized towards the specific teams. At Zoidberg, if we were to recognize ourselves in a framework, it would be easy to say that we use the Waterfall, well, not entirely, and Agile, well, not entirely. In terms of Agile, we would say that we use Scrum, not entirely, and Kanban, not really, and Scrumban, somewhat. I strongly suggest that although we're not using a framework, that you use a framework, because it's much easier to use a framework than to find the hot water yourself and to figure things yourself. But if you're too small to use a framework, there's one simplified method that you can use, and we're using it at Zoidberg as well. The simplified method is you create your concept with minimum planning, you start work in development, you verify that you have done what you have that you have done what was initially according to your concept. Then you deliver as soon as possible and as soon as minimal set of features is available, and then you move on to the next system. This method looks a lot like Waterfall, looks a little bit like Agile, but it differs in delivery and flexibility. Now, I'm going to quickly run through the methods just to make a point. The Waterfall model is based on sequential processes. So one of its phases needs to be entirely completed to move on to the next phase. You cannot deliver a product unless all the phases are completed. And it is focused around planning. Planning is super extensive with Waterfall. I cannot say for sure, but I think that 80% of the time is dedicated to planning. Then it's building, testing, reviewing, and you cannot do either one of the next steps until you have completed the previous one. It means that you might create a lot of spillage. Also, Waterfall is susceptible to change, so it doesn't really work well with change. Now, what do we do with Waterfall? At Zoidberg, we develop our core products following something of an agile, but for our customers, we develop our products with something of Waterfall. The reason being is that most of the times we receive RFPs that are already predefined. So our customers have usually done the planning work, and usually they don't change, and the requirements don't change. Now I'm going to quickly go through Kanban. I checked this thing, and it happens to be, it sounds a lot like what the Zoidberg team does from time to time and for specific projects. It's a combination of Scrum and Kanban, and what's interesting, what I love about it, and hence the love hearts, these principles and practices are not only applicable for software development, but you can apply them towards many levels in the organization. And it also provides a common language and shared experience across the organization. Quickly going through Kanban, it's visual, continuous development flow, it does not focus on roles, it's all about time, and change can happen at any time. Compared to Scrum, it's the teams ship the working software through sprints, and blah, blah, you know about this. It requires fixed time for development, it's all about velocity, and change cannot happen at any time during the sprints, or at least it's not advisory. The combination of Scrum and Kanban is probably better, especially for Zoidberg. Kanban, it differs from Scrum and differs from Kanban in many ways. It differs from Scrum in a way that it uses organizational management. It allows for the diverse specialized teams and functions, and it introduces specific policies, and there's predictability of the development and economic prioritization versus Kanban. It formalizes around improvement techniques with specific ceremonies, which is something that I find fascinating. It uses time-boxed iterations, it organizes around teams, and it uses a software development process framework, more like Scrum. At Zoidberg, we use modified frameworks, which look something like this, but not always. How we do it at Zoidberg? Somewhat of an agile. We scope with minimum planning. We test in-house. Then we create a proof of concept. Then we test again. Then we create a statement of work. Then we create the prioritization, and then we roll it out to our user base. For projects, for our customers, we do somewhat of a waterfall. We help, actually most of the customers deliver the RFP, but sometimes we need to help with the statement of work, which requires huge planning. Then we move on to implementation. We test it in-house, we review it, then we ship it to the customers. Then the same process starts with the customers. They test it, they review it, and they accept it or decline it, most of the times accept it, and then we deliver the product. We can roll out on as many occasions as required, on as many things as required. For example, we can apply this to a specific or a single feature, or we can apply it to a complete project, or we can apply it to a fraction of the software. Now, these frameworks require a holistic management approach. And boy, are we holistic at Zoidberg. We do not like management, but we like organization. So, how we manage in Zoidberg? We don't. As with project management methodologies, we need to lean towards liquid management methods and liquid company structure. We're practically a 15-year-old startup. We want to achieve complete fluidity, and this is how we do it. Our team members can tap into a project, do their job, do what they want to do there, and tap out at any time of the project. They can participate in the project and disband at any time, then connect to a new project. They can do this only if they are not the project manager or the product owner. They can also be suggested to tap in and tap out at any time. The project manager and the product owner are fixed positions at Zoidberg. I used to call this principle the Meritocratic principle, as it focuses on the person's merits rather than the person's role. Now, these methodologies and this way of working gives us the potential to do two things really well. We have a better development variety because we can develop several products at the same time with variable teams. We can do it successfully and with little to no spillage. We also have fluidity and flexibility so that we can seize a project or we can discontinue a project temporarily. We have better team engagement because people are working on different projects at their core, so it keeps them engaged. They take many roles in the levels of the company, so they can manage one team sometimes, or they can be on the executing side in other teams. And we have the possibility to see different perspectives and thus eliminate potential problems. I checked, and there are a lot of different management methods that fit Zoidberg, but again, not entirely. We are somewhat of a servant leadership in a way that we're focused towards the client, and we want to make sure that we bring value to the client. We also empower the team working directly with customers. We are a flatter structure in a way that we minimize the chain of command. There is still some order in the communication, but there is some fluidity around the different levels of the company. We're a flatterarchy. It's a flat organization with some hierarchy. And it's applied when necessary. It allows every single member of the team to play an integral part of the vision and the mission of the company. We are somewhat a bureau adhocracy. It's a combination between a bureaucracy and a hocracy. So we are designed to ensure faster organizational response, and we can face change in a better way than if we were not a bureau adhocracy. We are designed to work in coordination with each other, and we can make decisions and take actions affecting the future of the organization, no matter on what hierarchical level we are. We are also a holacratic structure in a way that we're purpose-driven, responsive. We have a designed rule set and mission statement in mind, so everybody knows what they have to do and when they have to do it, but we also have dynamic roles and responsibility. We're also a lean organization. So as you see, it doesn't matter what framework or organizational method you're going to lean towards when they can show exactly how you're organized and what you're doing. Now, the Zoidberg team itself is, I like to call it, a fluid of people, as we're working as a single organism or a body, not to be confused with James' body. United in Levels, I will demonstrate to you exactly what our teams are, if we can call them teams, as some people will be taking part in different teams around the organization. Just to say that we're 50 people and a cat. We have people responsible for the basic needs of this body, meaning we need to make sure that we have an office, we have HR managers and janitors, making sure that the office space functions as expected and as desired, and is comfortable enough for people to do their job. We have people responsible for the direction, which is the management body. That will be Joachim, but in reality, that will be our markets and customers. We have people responsible for the structure, policies, and principles. I could probably fit there. We have people responsible for partnerships and clients, in direct contact with these clients. That will be sales, support, project management. We have people supporting the people responsible for partnerships and clients. That would be legal advisors, editors, and technical support. We have people responsible for software development, and that will be guys like you. That will be product owners, network experts, librarians. Is this how you call it, librarians? SDK people interface, user experience experts, and designers. We have QA and testers. At any certain moment, though, 50% of our team is busy with customer support work. Actually, I'm lying here. 100% of the company is busy with customer support work and investigations. Now, our software needs to work across different platforms and across different hardware, so that's most of the work that we need to do. And there's always a support request coming in for a special environment, for a special network, for server setup, etc. And our contacts with the people producing some of the other software and hardware help us play the blame game. So if you receive a weird support request, it's quite possible it's coming from us. 100% of the company is using the products and feeding the feedback platform with feedback and feature requests. We are making everybody use the software, so eat your own dog food. Millions of diverse users are doing exactly the same. They're feeding our feature request platform and feedback platform. 100% of our company has done sales at a certain moment of their career. All of our people have spoken to a customer throughout their company life. At Zoidberg, we work in the same physical place. We have just a couple of remote people because they're living in a different country. Due to our software being written entirely in-house, all of its components need to be fused together. So this requires that all of the team members are in the same place. This also helps us to address problems quite easily. That's a tremendous amount of work, and that's a lot of work for a lot of people, but the reason we are doing this is written here. We want to make sure that we are providing quality communication software to be used on any device, on any platform, on any network and a service, while incorporating the best of all technological worlds. Although Zoidberg has never adopted the corporate bureaucracy way, actually it took me 10 minutes to write this word, and I'm part of the management. We organize in an organically structured manner that gives us the opportunity to maintain 15 years of communication software experience, but also to maintain a satisfied team. Our mission is to use structure our mission is to provide this software and to make a difference. We use these structures deliberately or non-deliberately to create serious business-grade products. We deliver our services to large telecoms, to providers, to some aerospace companies, to small businesses, to call center integrators, and companies in the health industry. And we achieve all this with great functional, efficient, and productive, passionate teams. We used fused work and play cycles in-house. We facilitate the work by incorporating highly customized or built in-house tools and software to deal with the administration. We constantly work on automation, but we should never forget that it doesn't really always work. We need to make sure that although we're automating as much as we can, there's always hands-on experience. And we constantly incorporate processes and policies to meet the needs of the team and the business. And in terms of play, we make sure that there's enough things to play with, and there is enough things to play with in the communication business, and that's why you're here. And there's a tradition in-house of team building practices. So whatever organizational structure or management methodologies you decide to use or not to use, but to simply recognize, your success will mainly depend on your timing and your team. So if I could wrap this up, and I'm going to read these because I wrote them emotionally, so I need to make sure that I can pass this emotion to you. Those would be: listen to your team members more, no matter what level they're in the company. Listen to Bert. If you don't know who Bert is, there's this story, and I have 8 minutes to tell the story, but I'll be quicker. In a toothpaste production company, they noticed they had a problem. They noticed that they're shipping toothpaste boxes without the actual toothpaste in the boxes, and they needed to solve this problem. And they spent 6 months and 8 million to try to solve this problem. And they applied whatever their findings were, and they received some results. They noticed within about a month that 100% of the problem was solved, and according to their calculations, they should have shipped at least a dozen of boxes without the toothpaste in these boxes. So they needed to check why there is 100% success of this flawed resolution they used. So they went to check, and it happens to be that Bert, the kid from maintenance, tired of walking over to restart the line, every time the bell rang, which was part of the solution, they would weight the boxes, and every time the box was lighter than required, they would stop the line and to ring a bell, and people should have walked towards the line, stop the production line, remove the faulty box, and then restart the production line. So he was tired of this. So tired of this, he just put a fan next to the production line that will blow out the empty boxes. So make sure that you don't miss on Bert, because he's a smart guy. Be more inclusive of opinions and perceptions, and in order to do so, you may want to visit my talk tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Be more trusting. Give autonomy to the teams you're working with and to the people you're working with, and you don't know what kind of expertise you might be missing on, what kind of birds you might be missing on if you don't do it. Give decision freedom. Provide the software and the platforms necessary for your talent to thrive and to grow. Try to achieve the right timing in the right thing, not just the right timing, by knowing what this right thing is. And actively use measuring tools to check whether you're in the proper line. Then enjoy what you do and make sure that the others around you enjoy what they do too. Get rid of the underwater storms by ensuring complete transparency. Then communicate change, always and on time, not to mitigate it, but to write it together with your team and to use every opportunity that can arise from change. Use every possible feedback tool to keep your reality in check. Monitor bad sectors of your team, get rid of negativity, and you need to do this relatively fast, or otherwise it will cost you. And reward the good sectors in your team. I would suggest that no matter where you are in your level, if you have levels in your companies, and no matter what kind of role you're taking, if you're taking roles, that you actually talk to your customers directly. That's the only way that you will understand what they need, and you will be able to align your findings and your sales team's findings together with the statistics you're using, so that you can provide the quality that you want to provide. Face your mistakes and try to solve them. I would suggest that you get rid of arrogance. Do not be afraid to seek help from colleagues and from external consultants when necessary. Invest in your business by investing in your team and your timing. This is what we do at Zoidberg. And thank you.
Thank you, Mira. Exactly 2 minutes to go. Anybody have any questions for Mira? Okay, one in the back. This is how I get my exercise today.
Was the kind of organizational structure that you put in place something that was very determined right from the very start, or something that you grew as the organization grew? And if it did grow as the organization grew, did you find that that resonated with 100% of folks? Or did it not work out for others? Sorry, there's about 5 questions in there. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Yes. No, I'm joking. So, yeah, well, the organizational structures and the management methodologies that you're using need to always change together with your team. You will not be able to survive any business if you don't change. So, yes, they evolved as the team was changing. Yes, some people didn't appreciate it. We lost some talent on the way, some amazing talent. We got back some of this talent when we changed our organizational structures and methodologies. But in reality, there's nothing you can do. You have to change. So it evolved with time. We had different organizational structures. I don't know how many. I cannot count them. But they evolve as the products evolve, they evolve as the teams evolve, they evolve as the technology evolve. I mean, look what's happening now with the technological world. We have a lot of competition in terms of different technologies used to produce communications and to incorporate communications. So every business will need to shift towards there. There's nothing else that you can do. Actually, you shouldn't want to do anything else. It's fun. I hope this answers the question.
Other questions? You couldn't say that while I was back there? I'm getting plenty of exercise, thank you.
With sort of the free structure that you have where people can tap in and out of projects, how do you handle a project that you don't have a lot of interest in? Like if everybody taps out and there's not enough resources going in to be able to get the project done, how do you kind of motivate or handle the projects that aren't as fun, I guess?
Oh, this is a very, very good question. I'm not just saying it to save time and to think about it. I know exactly what I want to say. Actually, we have specific people responsible for specific things because of their merits and because of their expertise. And although some of these specific merits are very specific for one particular person or two people, and it creates a huge business risk, meaning if this person gets sick or this person leaves the company, that's a big problem, especially now when there's huge hunger for human capital. It creates a business risk, but these people know exactly what they're good at. And as human beings, we are drawn towards things that we're good with. And especially if the project is challenging, they would really like to participate, but they would also like to participate because they know they're the only one who can solve the problem. And this is how it's done.
Okay, that looks like the end of time we've got for Mira. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
We start up in 5 minutes with the next talk.
Thank you,
all.
everybody, for being here.